Hello, and welcome to Craving Creativity Club. This video is all about creating a collection from nature, ready for us to use for our first project, which is the Changing Seasons project. However, first of all, I want to tell you a little bit more about Craving Creativity Club. First of all, Craving Creativity Club is aimed at anyone who is interested in building a little bit more creativity into their lives. Primarily, I've been thinking about teenagers, young people over the age of 12, particularly home educated teenagers or teenagers who are finding that their school art projects are not quite what they want to be doing. However, this club can and should be used by anyone who's interested in getting a little bit more creative. I've noticed that lots of YouTube videos focus on how to's or just sort of one off art moments. Um, but I want to create for you a route through from the very beginning to the very end of an art project. So we're going to be taking a subject, a theme, such as the upcoming Changing Seasons theme, working through some art history and some art theory, trying some techniques and activities related to that theme, and working through until we reach an end point, a final piece. The YouTube videos, which are uploaded every Wednesday during project times, are all free to access and will remain so. However, if you want a little bit more, do consider joining my membership, which you can find at www.elenastorrett.uk and click on the Craving Creativity Club logo. If you join the membership, which is free up until the end of 2025, you will get access to blog articles, PDF resources, and printables. There will be a discount for Zoom mentorship sessions if you would like them, as well as access to any possible live sessions that I might hold in the future. Not only that, you'll also get a weekly email during project times reminding you of where to find the video, what is coming up, and where you can access any extra resources that are on the membership pages. As I said, all of this is currently free up until the end of 2025. After that, it will be just £5 a month for full access to the membership. On October the 1st, 2025, the first project will begin, which is based around changing seasons. During this project, there will be 10 videos over 10 weeks, each one posted on the Wednesday, working through some art history, artists that have used the natural world as part of their art making process. We'll be learning a little bit about art theory, about how to make really good artwork, and also learning some techniques, all based around the changing seasons. So, for this project, you'll need to collect some items from the natural world. For me, living in Gloucestershire in the UK, this is going to mean mostly items from my garden or from local woodland or meadowland. For you, you may have access to a beach or a mountainous area or wetlands where you may find some slightly different objects and items from those that I do. If you are experiencing a slightly different change from in the seasons, in the UK, we're going from summer to autumn, but if you're, say, in Australia or New Zealand, I'm thinking you will be going from winter into spring. You may need to adapt what you find to fit your natural world. When you're collecting objects, it's a really good idea to just check the rules local to where you are, and it's slightly different in different parts of the world. As I said, your collection does not need to be the same as mine. These are just some things that I have found near to me. I will suggest some ways that you might adapt your finds to fit the project, and I will point out if anything is an absolute necessity, but there are always some ways of adapting to fit the world around you right now. One of the main changes you might notice in autumn is the leaves changing colour, and they can go absolutely gorgeous colours. It's interesting. It can be interesting to collect them and let them curl up, and you get these gorgeous shapes like these oak leaves, or these little leaves that I've had for a while that are getting quite crumpled now. But it can also be interesting to press leaves like you would press flowers. These are some that I've collected over the years, but you can certainly start pressing some now, and I'll show you some ways to do that. You don't preserve the colours completely, although I believe you can rub them with beeswax, and that helps a bit as well. But you do get some of the colours beautifully here, like these pale oranges and reds and yellows, and you certainly get the patterns that appear in the veining. One of the useful things about having press leaves is if you're going to do some printing, as we will be doing during this project, it can be helpful to have some properly flat objects, and leaves obviously are perfect for flattening. So I'm going to show you what I've got here. The leaves are only just beginning to change here, so we're not getting a huge amount of colours, but we've got a couple of red maple leaves. I think that's another kind of maple. I've taken some leaves off my viburnum as well, and these are great for printing because they've got these really pronounced veins in them. And these leaves are from my oak leaf hydrangea, and again they've got nice pronounced veins, and they do go beautiful colours. Unfortunately, many of the colours are not great this year because I think it's because it's been so hot, and a lot of the leaves have actually started to dry out well before autumn because of just not enough water around. So you might have a flower press, and they're quite easy to get hold of, or even to make. This one was made by my husband, and it is just 2 pieces of wood. They're quite thick. It's a bit more than a centimetre thick, so they're really sturdy, with some holes drilled in. There's 2 pieces, and then long screws, which covered with tape here that's it's just protection when I put it down on the surface. And that is a basic flower press. And then I have added card and paper so that I can press flowers and leaves inside. Simple as this. To experiment here with a bit of sugar paper. I'm not sure how well sugar paper works in a flower press. Just basically fill it up. Pop the lid on the top. These washers just protect the wood a little bit, and then tighten the wing nuts as far as they will go. There we are. And I'll just put that somewhere warm, probably somewhere sunny, and leave it for a few days before checking to make sure that everything is pressing nicely. Really simple way of pressing objects is to use a book. This is my sketchbook, and I've pressed a few leaves. I really love this one that's turning into a skeleton here. Just put them into the book. Initially to protect them while we were travelling. I collected these while we were away, but now they can go into my box of leaves. They're all dried out. And I've also got this tiny little press, which I quite like to take out with me sometimes. It means I can collect bits and pieces and put them straight into a little booklet. What's in here? I've got some flowers that I've pressed, which I can certainly switch out for some leaves now. Put in a leaf instead. And I made this is a DIY press, this one. So if you want any information about how to make your own, do drop me a comment, send me a message, and I will look into making a video about how to make one of these as well. So one of the projects that we've got, one of the activities that we have coming up is a printing project. So it's probably a good idea to look out for some other things, small things that you might print. And they don't have to be particularly autumnal. This is, I've collected some jasmine just from my garden. These are black elder leaves. I've got some ferns, which I have pressed a little bit in my sketchbook. Ferns make some really nice prints. This is, most of the grasses are over, but if you find some good grasses, some of those will make interesting prints as well. This is asparagus. I've just let it go to seed, and that's what's come out. I might try pressing this as well, actually. And some of the smaller seed heads can make some really interesting prints. Right. Oh, other things that you might like to print that are not leaves: sycamore seeds and maple seeds. I love the lovely red colour of these ones. Feathers are fun. You might find some flowers around. If you're by the sea, you could consider seaweed. Probably best to dry it out first, although wet seaweed and watercolour with the salt might be quite interesting. Cut fruits. If you don't have a lot of sort of flat things, we can do printing with cut fruit as well. Here are a few more things that you might collect whilst out and about. Let's see, what can we see? We've got fir cones. They come in different sizes. You might find some really lovely pristine ones. You can see the spiral patterns on this one, or what happens as they start to disintegrate. Some different kinds of cones. Also from trees, you might find conkers. So conkers are horse chestnuts, and the patterns on them, I hope you can see that from that closer. You can see those patterns that are just like wood grain, are gorgeous. And they come in these lovely shells with the spikes. Or there's also sweet chestnuts. So those were horse chestnuts. Conkers are horse chestnuts. These are sweet chestnuts. These are actually last year's. If you find them at this time of year, they may still be a little bit green. And you can actually eat the nuts inside. I wouldn't eat these. These are a year old, but if they're fresh, you can actually eat them as well. So sweet chestnuts. Or acorns. There's an acorn here, and they come with these little nut hats. The acorn goes like that to hang on the tree, and they often come apart, or you sometimes find them attached together. Again, really interesting textures there. You could find some bark. Please don't start stripping bark off a live tree. Look for a dead log or somewhere some animals strip barks and leave bits of it behind. So you might find some underneath trees that have
that the animals have stripped the bark, but please don't start doing that yourself or you'll damage your trees. But bark's really interesting. It kind of rolls itself up. This is bark from a silver birch, and you can see the birch pattern on the inside. You might also find lichen, I'm never sure how to pronounce that. So lichen is a algae and a fungus, I think, that work together and create these absolutely amazingly frilly shapes. And you can actually keep them slightly moist by misting them, and it keeps them alive for quite a long time indoors, or you can just let them dry out. But that's really interesting as well. If you're near a beach or somewhere rocky, you might collect shells or stones. Do not be collecting masses and masses of shells from the beach, though, because they are needed by the wildlife also. Don't forget to use what might also be in your garden. So this is amazing. This is a cardoon bulb, I think they're called. Which has grown spiral inside in the front garden, and the shapes are just die off and they gorgeous. Go all fluffy if you leave them long enough. But you can see that amazing spiral inside. The shapes are just gorgeous on a cardoon. Or poppy seed heads. You get this lovely flower shape on the top. I've actually shaken the seeds out. They have tiny holes in the top, and you can shake the seeds out before you bring the seed heads in. Otherwise you won't get any more poppies. I've got, this is from a foxglove from our garden. Again, it's been kind of hanging around for a while. All the seeds have actually fallen out. It is just the end of it now, so it's fine to bring it in. What else have I got? Because there's just so much of it in my garden. So that's quite an interesting one as well. This, I think, is from a curry plant. I have no idea what this is. If anybody knows what this is, something related to the mint plant, perhaps, but it is not mint. And this is the seed heads from red campion, which are really interesting as well. Like these little flower shapes. And allium seed heads as well, which make these gorgeous. They're like exploding fireworks or stars. Fascinating.
I'll reply to every comment. I'm looking forward to seeing you again for the start of our first project. The video will drop on Wednesday, the 1st of October 2025 at around about 11 o'clock in the morning. For me, if you could like and comment, this really helps the algorithms to know that I'm someone that they might like to promote. If you miss it, or if you're watching this at some point in the future, you can find the playlist on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe, and then you'll never miss a video to other people, and we can build up a great community here. See you soon.
One of the main changes you might notice in autumn is the leaves changing colour, and they can go